And hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Russell. I am the Special Assistant to End Homelessness for the City of Burlington, and I am the co-chair of the Chittenden County Homeless Alliance. We're glad you could be here today.
I would like to thank you all for joining us for this event that culminates our annual Homelessness Awareness Day. Today, all around Vermont, local communities came together to pause our work for a moment and instead to hold space to bear the weight of the tragedy and societal failure that is homelessness. Today in Vermont, 2,486 households are experiencing homelessness, including more than 150 people who are unsheltered, and 2,825 individuals, including 621 children in motels funded through Economic Services Division's Emergency Housing Program. This day is also a day to focus on solutions and success. Since April of 2020, we have exited 2,806 households from homelessness into homes. Today in Vermont, we are providing emergency shelter to 2,336 households. This is no small feat. And there are many people here today and across the state that work with passion and dedication to support the truly life-saving programs that offer shelter, food, and administer financial assistance to move people into stable housing. Our work is not done. There are so many people that need us to come together now with strong support and solutions. Housing is a basic human need. It is dignity, it is healthcare, it saves lives, and it is deserved by all. I have the honor and privilege of introducing Dr. Harry Chen. Dr. Chen served as medical advisor to, Dr. Chen is currently the interim director for the Vermont Department of Children and Families. Dr. Chen served as medical advisor to the state's response to COVID-19 and opiate epidemics. He was the chair of the Vermont COVID Vaccine Implementation Advisory Board and assisted with the pandemic response with the CDC Foundation as a senior advisor for HHS Region 3. He was previously executive director for the Center of Health and Wellbeing at the University of Vermont and the university's senior public health officer. He spent a year in Uganda from 2017 to 18, where he co-led the country's first emergency medicine residency as a Peace Corps volunteer in the Global Health Service Partnership. Dr. Chen was commissioner of the Vermont Department of Health from 2011 through early 2017. He also served as acting secretary to the Agency of Human Services in 2014. From 2012 to 2017, Dr. Chen served on CDC's Board of Scientific Counselor's Office of Infectious Disease and chaired its Food Safety Working Group. He was on the board of directors of the Association of State and Territorial Health Officials. He has spoken and written on healthcare reform and public health issues regionally and nationally. As an emergency physician at Rutland Regional Medical Center for over 25 years, Dr. Chen was medical director from 1998 to 2004. He was on the clinical faculty at the University of Vermont College of Medicine and served as vice chair of the University of Vermont Board of Trustees. In 2002, Harry was elected to the Vermont House of Representatives, where he served until 2008. Dr. Chen earned his medical degree and completed his residency in emergency medicine at the Oregon Health Sciences University School of Medicine, serving as chief resident. In 2007, he was awarded the Charles A. Pressis Distinguished Alumnus Award. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Jess. I guess I ought to shorten that bio. It doesn't need to take that much time. But anyway, thanks, Jess and Sarah for convening this. So I'd say to everyone on this call that really days like today are really important because we need to lift up voices to make sure that our leaders, not just the ones doing the work, like on this call, or living without permanent housing are thinking about solutions to the homelessness problem, both in terms of solutions in the short term, but also solutions in the long term. Well, I just want to show my appreciation and thank you to those who participated in a local event or a vigil or attended the events at the State House today. Thank you. To those who do the precious work of walking alongside someone on their journey, helping them along the way. Thank you. To those who lifted their voices today to share their own experience and expertise as someone who has been homeless, special thank you to you. At the Department for Children and Families, we deal with the day-to-day work of helping people find a motel room or filling out the paperwork they need to get that assistance. We steward dollars that go to help community organizations, like many that are on today, to fund shelters, to provide financial help to someone falling behind on their rent, to provide rental assistance and services to help a family find and keep housing. We have a dedicated and hardworking staff, but we are only human and we aren't perfect. So we rely on all of you to help us do better. And we need you to partner with us. But we all fundamentally agree that everyone needs and deserves affordable housing. And while we work with all of you to make sure our collective ability to respond to the housing crisis is working, we also work with our colleagues across state government, VHFA, VHCB, and VSHA, to work towards a future where homelessness is rare, brief, and one time. So thank you for all providing warm meals, for working long hours, for fierce advocacy, for going out to meet people where they are, whether it be behind the grocery store, at the motel, or in their home. For taking the extra 10 minutes to show compassion to someone in crisis, for being a valued members of the team, for indeed, it does take a village. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Next on our agenda for speaking here, we have a non-denominational remembrance from Reverend Earl Coopercamp from the Good Shepherd Episcopal Church in Barrie. Reverend?
Thank you, and good afternoon. Earlier this afternoon, I was invited to do the opening devotional at the Vermont State House, and it was a chance to once again remind our legislators that this is Homelessness Awareness Day. But indeed, for you all, I know, it's a day that we're aware each and every day, day in and day out, of the sisters and brothers that we have here in Vermont who are undergoing a housing crisis. As Jess said in the introduction, it literally thousands who are in an unstable time in their lives that is so difficult and that can literally be life and death. So I want to echo our distinguished speaker, Dr. Chen, in giving great thanks for all that you've been able to accomplish over these past, literally in some cases, decades, many years, months, day in and day out, and especially to ask for your continued good courage, work, and diligence in the days and the weeks to come. Memory is important for us because memory helps us to know who indeed we are. And it's especially important on a day like today, a cold, icy day in January, that we come together to remember those who it's so easy for many people in our society to forget. Those who are undergoing a housing crisis, those who are poor, out of work, those who through no fault of their own, or maybe through their own fault, are living in really dangerous and insecure positions. And so these memories that we have, we hold them dear and we cherish them. And especially the memories of those who've departed. Thank God we continue to work so hard to make sure that no one dies, and yet that does happen. And so in a minute, I want to just hold open a space where we can name those names, those who were known to us, those indeed who are unknown, that we can hold their names out as a way of remembering who we are, the importance of the work we do, and the importance still of the work yet to be done. So I'd like us to just take a moment of silence first. And then a time to remember those who either this year or in years past, you know, who've now died and passed on, and yet still we remember them this day. And either just unmute yourself and say the name out loud or in the silence of your own heart.
Jim Hamp and David Bicknell.
Adam. Charles. We also take a moment to remember those who are undergoing a housing crisis at this time. Those who we've been able to help, those who we can't find the ways to help them at this point. For John. Now, if you'd open your hearts and lift up your spirits with me. Oh, great divine spirit, we know you by many names. We know the ways in which you walk with us, even in which those times that we're least aware. We ask you, O Spirit, in your compassion, to watch those who are the most vulnerable among us. Watch over those individuals and families undergoing a housing crisis at this time. Help them to know that they are not alone. Help them to find the help they need. And we ask that you continue to grant us the strength and the courage, the compassion and the caring, day by day, to undertake the important task of making others aware of homelessness, of finding solutions to the homeless crisis that we face here throughout our state of Vermont. In this time when the weather is so bad, shelter those with warmth and with compassion. But above all, help us to be tireless in the example of your servants, Dr. Martin Luther King and his wife, Coretta Scott King, whose day we remembered this past week, to strive for justice, for dignity, and for peace for all people. In those little things that we do, and in those great deeds, may love always shine through. And may that love continue to help us as we gather together to continue our efforts to address the housing crisis in our state, and above all, to make sure that there can be a quality life for all people in this brave little state, for individuals and families. So for all your grace and giving thanks for all the work that's done day in and day out, we give thanks to you and ask you to continue to let us know of your presence with us, giving us all that we need to do this work that you've given us to do that's so important. And let us all say together, amen. Amen. And thank you so much for all you do, not just today, making homelessness an awareness for all of our society, but really that help and all the hard work you do day in and day out. God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend. So today we did Homelessness Awareness Day a little bit differently than we have in the past. We spread ourselves around the state and we held events in our local communities and regions. And we're going to hear from a few people who hosted and held those events now. I'm going to introduce from the Northeast Kingdom Housing Coalition Homelessness Awareness Day event update, Casey Winterson, who's the Director of Economic and Community-Based Services at Northeast Kingdom Community Action, or it's more fun to say NECA, and Robert Little, Director of Community Development at Rural Edge.
Gosh, it's been a long day, Jess. That's okay. I kind of like that, litter. I was usually called littler when I was in school, so I'm used to that. Don't worry. So, okay, everyone, I'm going to let Casey take a lot of stuff, but I'm going to take like half of it and then let Casey do the other half. So, Casey, make sure you've listened to what I'm saying. So we had a whole lot of fun yesterday. The weather wasn't too bad. We set up flags at 5 different locations, one for each person in the Northeast Kingdom experiencing homelessness by the 2022 PIC count, and different colors for adults and children. And I'll tell you, it was quite an experience, trying to get flags in the ground when there's, very little snow on the ground and tons of ice. But luckily, Casey and I met with the student council in the St. Johnsbury School and gave them a little bit of education, and then they put up the flags for us. We went to the United Community Church in St. Johnsbury and set up a really nice display there. Lyndonville wasn't so beautiful. There was even less snow there, so I had to get creative, and I stuck them in the flower boxes in front of the Darling Inn in Lyndonville. It was awesome. So that was one thing we did, and Casey, I'll let you talk about up north. The other thing is I came back, I never wear a tie, but I wore a tie today because I was at the State House all day. Star Barden and I represented the Northeast Kingdom with Homelessness Awareness Day testimony before House and Senate, which was really, really well received. So just a huge moment of praise for everyone who helped set this up. Casey did a ton of the legwork in the Northeast Kingdom, and for Molly and Martin and everyone else who put everything together at the State House. It was just a really important, beautiful day. So I'm so grateful.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, to dovetail off of what Robert said, altogether we had somewhere in the department of like 700 flags go out throughout the Northeast Kingdom. The other 2 locations were in Canaan. For those of you who may not know where Canaan is, it is in the top right corner. If you're looking at a map, right on the New Hampshire border. Not much up there, probably one of the most rural areas across the state. And then our other spot was up in Newport at the 70 Main location, NECA's main office. And just like Robert said, it was a great day trying to stick flags in there as well, especially up in Newport where the ground's even more frozen from the lake. Outside of that, we did a little bit of tabling at the UCC today, the United Church, and we had a table from NECA out there with folks being able to grab stuff as they came up with what they could do, the 5 quick, easy things that you can do as any individual to, draw down the stigma that exists around those that are homeless and what you can do to help. A list of all of our representatives across the Northeast Kingdoms that folks could reach out to, and then some helpful things that they could pass out if they needed to. And the last, but certainly not the least, and you are all very welcome to join us this evening. We're having a showing of The Invisible Class. It's a documentary that was written by a gentleman and produced by a gentleman named Josh out of California. And it looks at homelessness across the United States and the pandemic that it is. It is from 6 o'clock tonight. You can stream it live. If you want to check it out, it's at Catamount Arts. And you can go to their events page, and Catamount Arts, there's a link there. to the actual screening page that we will all be using and a password to get you in for free. And then there'll be a Q&A after where you will, if you do show up, you'll get to see me one more time today and my executive director, Jenna, and we're going to chat a little bit and have some Q&A. So as Robert said, and Robert and Star, thank you so much for, for representing us today down at the State House. And thank you everyone, friends, colleagues all across the state for making homelessness aware today. It's, I know we do it every day, but it's important that folks can see it in real life. So thank you.
Thanks, Casey and Robert. I'm so glad to hear that your events continue into this evening. I think that's great, especially for folks who weren't able to join in some earlier events today. Next, we will be hearing from Heidi Lacey, the Executive Director of Charter House Coalition, about the homelessness awareness events that took place in Addison County with the Addison County Housing Coalition for Homelessness Awareness Day.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jess. I do want to start off by just repeating what Robert and Casey said in terms of Molly and Martin's involvement. Casey was also very, Kara was also very helpful in the planning of this year's event for us in Addison County. We had never taken part in the state planning committee before, and the dialogue that took place in those meetings was, it was just beneficial for everyone. So for us here in Addison County today, we started at about 7 a.m. And we too did flag exhibits in 3 locations. So we found ourselves on the Middlebury Green, the Bristol Green, and the Virgins Green. We represented 241 flags. And we broke colors out by total number of households coming in at 93, and then breaking it down by age groups. So we held 95 adults with us today between the ages of 18 and 61. 42 children in Addison County are currently houseless between the ages of 0 and 17. And then last but not least, our elderly population is represented by 11 folks that we know of that are currently experiencing homelessness. It was an amazing day. Our partner agencies really came together. United Way, John Graham Housing, Veteran Affairs was here today with us. We had Porter Hospital represent with us on the greens. Addison County Community Trust members joined us. We had many Middlebury College students that were very happy to get out and stand in the cold and hold signs, as well as several faith community members joined us. I think that one of the best parts of today, though, honestly, was that our house guests here at Charter House, they got up and stood out and spent most of the day on one of the greens, and they felt very empowered. They feel very humbled that today was really about them, and I'm taking that really personal, just in the sense that the look on their face, the tears in their eyes, just the gratitude for all of us, all of you that just showed up for them today. I think that we were able to provide testimony from 2 of our guests. I can't wait to watch that later. I'm told that both went very well, and WCAX News stopped by. So I feel like we were seen today. We had great people driving by numerous times, honking their horn. We created a website that is listed with the United Way of Addison County that, just to what the other group had done, it just brings awareness. So I'm happy to share that link in the chat, but just really allows supporters to figure out what is the solution. And one of the solutions that we suggested was reaching out to our legislative folks and stepping in, volunteer, donate your time, be a part, and don't be afraid. So it was a very inspiring day. I'm losing my voice because we were yelling back at cars in gratitude, but I think next year we might hang flags from trees instead of trying to stick posts in the ground because that was certainly a challenge at 7 a.m., but well worth it. Thank you to everyone on this call. You really do amazing work and you really make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. I now get to reintroduce my co-host, Sarah. Sarah is with the Chittenden County Homelessness Alliance, and she is going to update us about events in Chittenden County.
Thanks, Jess. The CCHA, or Chittenden County Homeless Alliance, hosted its awareness event this morning and early afternoon to recognize the large number of people in Chittenden County who we're seeing who are homeless. That includes 585 households. 72 of those are families. 196 of those are chronically homeless. 34 of those are veterans, and 38 are youth. So we took time today, invited a number of local agencies and our partners in this work. We hosted a space for people with lived experience to voice their concerns and experiences with the system. What's working and what's not, and how we can do better. Included in these voices was a young adult with significant mental health and substance use issues, a couple who are camping right now on the waterfront, not sure how their tent, well weatherized, is going to stand up against the snow that we're supposed to receive in the next 24 hours. And we also hosted another person who has struggled terribly with the transitional housing program through the motel system in the last year. For us, this highlight sort of coming together really spoke to both the diverse challenges of our community, but also our ability to create spaces where people can show up genuinely with trust and share their experiences. I would like to share a special appreciation for our partners at the Chittenden County Homeless Alliance who were in the room today to talk with us. We heard suggestions around increasing access to storage, creative shelter options, and how our agencies could work better together to support people, the large number of people who we're seeing with substance use challenges right now, who are unsheltered currently, especially in Burlington, but all throughout Chittenden County. And I'd also like to share appreciation for my co-chair, Will Town, who was not able to be on this call this evening, and for Jane Helmstetter, who, while retired from the Agency of Human Services after many, many years of service, continues to stay very involved with volunteering to support our Homeless Alliance by facilitating all of our monthly meetings, fielding a number of phone calls about what do we do, how did we do this before when you were here, and also who was instrumental in planning our Homelessness Awareness Day here in Chittenden County. So thank you. I think I'm next to also introduce the next speaker. The next speaker that we're going to hear from is Brandy Clark, who is an AmeriCorps Vista at the Springfield Supportive Housing Services, to share with us about Homelessness Awareness Day events that took place with the Springfield Local Housing Coalition.
Thank you, Sarah. So I got together with our other AmeriCorps member, Courtney, and we coordinated with the Vermont Department of Labor, which is just downstairs in our building in Springfield, and the Springfield Movie Theater, and then Parks Place in Bellows Falls, which Jennifer Heidbrink, who also was using the Bellows Falls Opera House. And at these locations, we held a warmth drive, and which we started posting about our event about a week ago. And we already started having items of warmth coming in. And so Christy Pratt with Department of Labor, her crew staged a box truck down at the Springfield Plaza. And I went down there to just check in and see how they were doing this morning while they were setting up. And they already had a really good amount, like the entire floor of the box truck was covered, and they actually did an amazing job creating 200 essentials bags, which has, I mean, they filled these bags with everything that you think you would need, like everything from hygiene to snacks to some other items of warmth, and they had a nice table set up down there. And the Springfield Library had donation boxes, and they had already received a very nice amount. And then Courtney and I had signs standing outside the Springfield Library, just with some information about Homelessness Awareness Day. And I was able to talk to several people who were walking by, and it was nice to share that information. And there were, it was interesting, their surprise when you discuss, the numbers just in our district alone, even just for December in our district, it was 122 households that are homeless. And, it's always interesting just to experience their surprise at learning that. And so we displayed socks on a string. So 122 socks on a string outside the Springfield Library, 87 adult size to represent adults, and then 35 to represent children. And then we had 2 scarves to represent the 2 homeless individuals who passed away. And then, so at the end of the day, today, all of those donated items are rounded up and brought to our office where we'll inventory them. And then, we hand them out when it's needed. And let's see, in the movie theater, they're doing up on the ads that you see when you go to see a movie, they're showing QR code for like donation links to our organization. And then I believe the Bellows Falls Opera House is offering, I think it was like 50-cent popcorn if, a person brings in a donated item. So this was really, I don't know, it felt like a really rewarding experience. This is a first for me, and to get this done sort of last minute. We just started preparing for it last month, and then we had the holidays and stuff. But I feel really good about the turnout, and it was nice to be a part of this. And I look forward to spreading this awareness next year too. So thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. We have time and space now to hear from others around the state about activities that happened today.
Yeah, hi, this is Jason Brill. I'd like to take an opportunity to share if I can. I'm a social worker at the Department of Veterans Affairs and also the chair of the statewide Vermont Veterans Committee on Homelessness. And we had 2 events that took place beginning last week, culminated both of which today. We have 2 transitional housing programs for veterans that are one in Northfield, Vermont, the Veterans Place, and another in Bradford, Vermont, Veterans Inc. Both of those programs, the veterans that are residing there, not all, but most of the veterans in both of those programs participated in a paint and fruit punch event last week, where they were led in a guided free expression and painting activity by the VA's recreational therapist, Brooke Robinson Drew. And veterans were invited to depict and paint whatever housing and homelessness and the barriers that they saw in their own personal experiences as individuals experiencing homelessness and also as veterans meant to them. And those paintings were put on display for folks to view at the State House today. And also coinciding with that event, some of the paintings that weren't on display at the State House today were on display in White River Junction, on site at the White River Junction VA Healthcare System campus today from 10 a.m. to noon. Staff and veterans from both of those two programs and staff from the VA hospital system as well participated and hosted a pop-up soup kitchen for any patients, visitors, guests, and staff that were on site at the VA hospital in White River Junction. We didn't have enough soup or hot chili was handed out. Homemade hot chili was made by staff and residents of both Veterans Inc. and Veterans Place. They had prepared enough for 300 people and had planned that to last for 2 hours. It only had enough chili to last about an hour. And so it was extremely successful. There was opportunities to display the artwork that the veterans had participated in from their paint and fruit punch, and many opportunities to discuss the connection between food insecurity and homelessness with patients and visitors, staff members of the VA, and guests that were on site for whatever brought them to the medical center for their needs today. And so grateful for, as folks have shared, for the opportunity to participate not only in events at the State House as we have for many years in the past, but also to be able to bring awareness to local communities and to provide the sense of empowerment for those who are currently experiencing homelessness to participate in this. For myself, being on the kind of back end planning side of it, it was quite remarkable to see just the level of enthusiasm and excitement and motivation from the veterans that participated in this, veterans who had no interest in painting or in socializing with others, who willingly jumped at the opportunity to participate in this event, to share their experiences and their stories with others who may not know or understand what they are going through. Was really a powerful opportunity. And so I just want to express on behalf of those veterans and the Veterans Committee, express our appreciation to Martin, to Molly, to Kara, and to all the other organizations, the Affordable Housing Coalition, Vermont Interfaith Agency, Coalition to End Homelessness, and the Chittenden County Homeless Alliance for helping provide this opportunity for our veterans and many other clients that are represented here today for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Any other regions want to share with us activities of the day and events?
Sure, Jess.
Great, Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan Toll. I'm head of Parker Advisors at a consulting firm. And we're currently doing a homeless needs assessment and action plan for the city of Montpelier for Washington County. We're also working on a project for a social homeless project that in Londonderry. Here in Washington County, however, our event was on the State House steps, and I'm going to hand it off to the individual who ran the event, pretty much soup to nuts, Julie Bond, who's on the call with us here today. She's co-executive director of Good Samaritan Haven, based here in Burlington and Berlin and Barry. It's been a long day for me too. So, yeah, basically, and Julie did an absolutely fantastic job organizing, implementing, and early this morning and then even late tonight and breaking down. I helped support her, and the thing that I just wanted to mention, one of the main things that I did was help recruit individuals who are homeless to speak and tell their stories on the State House steps. We had one individual lined up, Colby Lynch, who did a fantastic job. We had hoped to have a couple other individuals lined up, but we're unable to recruit anybody other than the one. However, Julie did a great job of opening the door, and we ended up having several people just on their own step up and tell their stories. And it was incredibly powerful and well received. And fortunately, Channel 3, and I think there's at least one other television station that was covering the event. So anyone who's in the viewing area for these TV stations will see this great event. So I'm going to turn it over to Julie now to give her perspective on the event today at the State House.
Thanks, Dan. Hi, everybody. Thanks. It's really helpful to hear what everybody's initiatives were all about. That's really cool. It just helps to like build this holistic picture around the state of what occurred. So since we can't be in all places at all times, that's much appreciated. So thanks for the opportunity in the space. And I guess I would just add to Dan's description that we created a public art installation on the State House steps and walkway all the way up to the building, which included many hundreds, probably upwards of 400 to 500 luminaries. So bags with LED lights in them that are lining the steps and I've just heard the lights are starting to come out now that it's dusk. So those will light up the steps. And then from the street level all the way up to the State House building, there are 5 sculpture representations of individuals who are rough sleepers or those who are outdoor unsheltered individuals. So they're mannequins that look quite lifelike in their depiction of what it's like to be out of doors in this kind of weather. And and they're on cardboard bases and they have some quotes around them. Explaining what the day is, explaining, everyone needs a home and some basic general quotes to raise awareness. And we definitely had a lot of double takes or triple takes of individual passersby on the street looking to see what this was about. Probably provoking some discomfort as well, which I think is kind of important around this issue. So it was great. It was very powerful, very empowering, and I hope it provided inspiration for folks. So thanks to everyone for the opportunity, for the support, for all the efforts that went into this day around the state, and just glad to be part of it. So thanks.
Thanks to everyone for sharing today and for joining this Zoom gathering. It's just not the same on Zoom, but it's still nice to see everyone's faces. And I was at the State House earlier today, and it was nice to see some the rest of people's bodies. We so often see folks from the shoulders up, so it's nice to actually see people in person, especially for events like this. We would like to thank our legislators for listening. We hope that everything that you heard today will support policies and programs and funding to enable us to expand our work to end homelessness. Also, we have great appreciation for those who work to make this event a success, including members of the Chittenden County Homeless Alliance and the Vermont Coalition to End Homelessness and other homeless alliances and COCs across the state, especially to Martin Hahn and Molly Shimko, who provided so much support and coaching and prompts and prep meetings to keep all of us on track and to support our work. We'd also like to thank our friends at the Agency of Human Services, Department of Children and Families. Thank you to Dr. Chen for being with us today. We know you are incredibly busy and appreciate the time and your remarks that you made today in support of our work around homelessness. We'd like to thank the truly empathetic staff who took time to prepare and present testimony today. The frontline staff workers are are true heroes in this work. And finally, we'd like to recognize the courage of those with lived experience who shared how the system has both helped and harmed them. It's through these shared experiences that we're able to see gaps and hear innovations, recognize challenges, and celebrate our success over the course of a year. Thanks this afternoon to my co-host, Jess, for this event, and to our speakers on this closing gallery, and to the many others of you who joined all of us to bring awareness to this issue and how we can all work together to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you, everybody.